Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Faye Wett, and let's queer up the USA view. Shocking study by King's College London reveals bias against asexuals. The world celebrated International Asexuality Day on Sunday. Against this backdrop, a new study out of King's College London is raising eyebrows across the LGBTQ+ community, especially among asexual people. The study, backed by asexual activist and model Yasmin Benoit, found that nearly a third of respondents believe asexuality can be cured through therapy. A finding Benoit says while disturbing, didn't surprise her. She told LGBTQ Nation, quote, "I know that people will just come out and say all kinds of things about asexuality. They have no gauge of what is a bad thing to say about asexual people or what is acephobic," end quote. The study used a double list experiment to minimize bias in responses, an approach rarely seen in asexuality research. Results revealed not just misunderstanding, but active discrimination. 27% said asexuals just haven't met the right person, and 30% said legislation shouldn't protect them. Benoit, the first asexual grand marshal of the New York City Pride in 2023, added, quote, "We don't even have hate crime law protection," end quote. She believes this lack of understanding is rooted in poor societal education and a dismissive queer and mainstream media. Quote, "We're still stuck on asexuality 101, end quote. With rising right-wing sentiments across the globe, Benoit warns, quote, "Just because things start targeting one group doesn't mean they're not going to do the same things to other people. We see how the trans community gets weaponized. And now you're seeing that they're increasingly coming for the gay community as well. It's just going to keep going on and on. I guess it's that saying, there needs to be equality for everybody or there isn't equality for anybody," end quote. And right there is the sentence, yep. Right? Equality for all, not just for one, right? If you told anybody at this table, right? Better yet, I have been told that I have not met the right man and that's why I'm a lesbian, right? Idiotic comments, okay? Because I slept with plenty of men and you guys were boring, okay? A sandwich and a blowjob and you left me alone, all right? That was the actual truth. So she's got every right. Like, okay, when we were LGBT back in the day, right? Then we started saying that we were LGBTQIA+, right? We've got two-spirited individuals that are also part of our community. Add 15,000 other letters and I'm still going to say it because we've got to include everyone and that's just how it's going to be, right? So asexuality exists, you are important, you are part of our acronym and you should have the same protections as the rest of us do.
And everybody's rights should be respected, you know, whatever your beliefs are.
And that's it.
Yeah,
but
plain and simple.
I'm kind of, you know, I look at, you know, we did this in the previous story about, you know, transgender athletes. And it's just like when you look at the population and like they said, some of the studies show only 1%, some show 0.4% of the population is asexual. Why are we focusing on such a small number other than the fact of being able to target them? And then and just knock them off from the bottom to the
Erasure.
top. Right.
Yeah, just erase
it's easy
them.
to bully them because they're such a small number.
Right.
Exactly, but that's the same thing towards our trans community. They're 0.6%, and that's exactly why. You go towards the lowest hanging fruit, and you try to erase them like they did to take when they, from Stonewall Monument, when they took the trans off that, you know? I mean, you can try to erase us all you want. Doesn't mean that we didn't exist.
Right. Doesn't change our history. We'll remember it.
Anything, Angel?
Well, I mean, I just think it's important to memorize or remember Stonewall, right? Like the Stonewall movement and like the struggle that the community has faced, you know, like asexual people, you know, they have a right to have a seat at the table. They have a right to be heard, to be seen, to be respected, to be loved, you know, and if they, you know, it's unfortunate that, you know, there's just not as much acceptance in our world. There's not as much acceptance in our country. We have people that are very, just, you know, mean and, you know, they engage in this type of bullying behavior.
But unfortunately, we have that in our community too sometimes. We all need to change that. It starts, you know, from one-on-one on a table. Having coffee with somebody you don't know and listening instead of just talking.
Yeah. I mean, you will, I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to where it's like, oh, I just, you know, I didn't know a trans person until I moved to Wilton. Right? You know what I mean? And then, you know, you're afraid to have those conversations, but those uncomfortable conversations educate you. They help you for the next time that you meet somebody and you ask for pronouns or you do the right thing. You know, I mean, we all weren't just born with all this. We've got to learn some of it. You know, and there's no problem with making mistakes or anything like that. As long as you come back. Inclusivity is key at the end of the day. That's it. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the